またお会いして嬉しいですよ. I'm still Madame Sensei. I'm still aligning Duolingo Japanese with my in-person classes, and today I'm going to blitz you with kanji. Lots and lots of kanji today. So, Duolingo introduces a couple of things, and they only show you two in the tips. Let me show you all the kanji for this skill. Okay, first of all, they introduced this kanji here, but I can't talk about this kanji first because I want to teach you in a way that makes it easier for you to learn. You learn quicker. The more associations I can help you make, the quicker you're going to latch onto these. So first of all, let's start with kawa. Oops, I don't know why it flipped over there. Kawa means river, okay? Look, there's three lines. Do the left, do the middle, do the right one, okay? And it kind of looks like a river, right? I don't know why that's behind everything. There we go. It's in front now, okay? Looks like a river, right? Okay, so that means river. So you're going to take a river. Oh, my computer's acting weird. Take a river and you squeeze it in the middle. And that's where you get water. This is water right here. This is mizu, and it's water. So this is one of the very first kanji that we always start with calligraphy lessons, shodo, when I'm teaching you how to write with the brush, okay? Because it's got these beautiful lines. All right, we're going to start in the middle for this one because the middle is really long. And remember, all kanji has a stroke order meant to keep our beautiful silk sleeves out of the ink, okay? So start in the middle, go all the way down, and there's a teeny little foot here, okay? Come down, and then pull up the brush quickly. Pen if you're using a pen. And then you're going to do the left side. You're going to go in and out without lifting up the pen. Now the right side, you're going to start here because that's the highest point. You're going to come down and then lift up the pen and then do the bottom right here. Okay? So here's your stroke order. That's pronounced mizu, or it's sui, like in suiyobi, okay, which would be Wednesday. Here's the next one, but before I teach you this one, let me teach you this one. I feel like Captain Underpants. Before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. All right, so this is a good kanji because it means good, okay? It's pronounced E, but sometimes if you want to sound poetic or you want to sound old-fashioned, you're going to pronounce it yoi. And you're certainly going to flip to this yo when we do the negative. It is not good, yokunai, because ikunai sounds weird, okay? Yokunai. So sometimes it'll be yoi, yokunai. Usually it's E, all right? So we start with the teeny little thing on the top, and then we're going to do our across and down without lifting up the pen, cross the middle, cross the bottom. Now come all the way down, just like we did for mizu. You're going to come all the way down and then lift up the brush in this direction, and that'll give that little foot right there. And then we do this tiny little line right here, and then we do the long line right here. And you can, right here, what's happening is if you're doing it with a brush, your brush is going to flatten out right there. Okay, like you're pushing down a little bit and the brush gets flat. Don't worry about that. You're writing in pen probably. Please keep a notebook and write these down in pen, in pencil, because it'll help your brain. We know very well that there's a strong connection between the kinesthetic activity of writing and memorization. You'll study less if you keep a notebook and write these down, okay? All right, so now let's go back to that one, which is pronounced taberu. And I told you that this meant good, right? We're going to put good things under a roof. Well, that's food. Food is a good thing to have in your house, okay? So we're going to start with a swoopy down line right here. Pick up the pen, do a swoopy down on this side, and then write good inside, just the exact same way we did on the other page. Okay, so as a verb, this is taberu. Taberu means to eat. It also means I eat. It means he eats. It means we all eat. It means whatever, because there's no conjugation in Japanese. There's only inflection of verbs. And I'm gonna split that off, and I'm gonna do a whole lesson on verbs right after we're done with the kanji. Okay, but first I want you to see the kanji. So that's taberu, just like that. Notice when we write the kanji, and it's a verb, the bei and the ru, or the bei and some other stuff, will always be outside of the kanji. This is the entire reason that hiragana was invented, so that we can show things happening to verbs, okay? So when you see it with a be after it, you know it's pronounced ta, and you know it's the verb to eat. Okay? Sometimes it's not pronounced that way. Okay, here I've got shokudyo, which is food. Okay, shokudyo. It's food materials. And we're going to flip to a different pronunciation for that, shoku. You may have also, if you're watching a lot of TV, you might also hear somebody shout, "Kurae! Eat this!" Kurae is really super rude, okay? But that's a different pronunciation of taberu. Okay, next one. Remember how we had good? And we had good things in the house? This is to drink. This is nomu, okay? So we're going to swoopy down, swoopy the other side, just like we're doing taberu. Write something good inside of it, just the same way we did. You see, I've got a lot of different materials for stroke order. Because taberu is a 2nd grade kanji, but nomu is a 4th grade kanji. So I've got different materials for that. Okay, and then on this side, we're going to swoopy down. Swoopy is a technical term. Now, come across and then make a little stroke, like without lifting up your pen. You come across and boink, like that. Okay, now pick up your pen, swoopy down, pick up your pen, start in the middle, and come down again. Okay, this is nomu, to drink, and I didn't write it. Let me write it right now. Let me go to Japanese and make sure my IME is enabled. Make sure to watch my video on enabling the IME if you are interested in doing that. Okay, it'd be nice if you did. Just saying. Okay, so that's nomu. All right, here's another one that looks very similar. Swoopy down, good things inside your house. You got food. Okay, now on the right-hand side, we've got the storehouse for the food. All right, we go straight across, and then we have a curvy kind of line this way. And then we're going to go across and down without lifting up the pen, and then I'll lift up the pen and go this way. Okay? This is pronounced han. You are never, ever, ever, ever going to see it by itself. It's always going to have a go in front, and sometimes the go will be written in kanji, but generally it's left out of kanji because that kanji is pretty complicated. Gohan is rice, but it's not just any rice, it's cooked rice. Okay, the word for raw rice is kome, and I showed you that in the tongue twister, nama gome, nama mugi, nama tamago. Okay, that's the uncooked rice. Gohan is cooked rice. That go is very important. This is what we call an honorific. An honorific shows that something is important to society. Okay, rice, cooked rice, very important. It's served with every meal. And because it's served with every meal, we can also use gohan to mean meal in general. And you're going to see some sentences coming up in Duolingo that are like asa gohan, yoru gohan, the morning meal, the evening meal, hiru gohan, the noon meal. That's breakfast, lunch, dinner. Okay? So, speaking of honorific, this one also we're going to put an honorific on, and also mizu. I know I showed you mizu earlier. A lot of times you'll hear omizu because water is pretty important, right? So this is cha. This means tea. This is a 2nd grade kanji. We're going to go straight across and then down and down. And whenever you see this radical, it usually has to do with bamboo. So a lot of tea utensils are historically made of bamboo, and that's why this is there. Okay, then we're going to make the roof. So swoopy down the other side. And then it almost looks like a katakana ho here. We're going to go straight across. We're going to go down, and then a teeny little line and a teeny little line. These two are not connected. Okay, this is pronounced cha. We usually have the honorific ocha because it's important. Okay, tea ceremony. Let me tell you a story about tea ceremony. It's a long story, but I'll make it short. So tea ceremony is, you've got the most bitter tea in the world. It is so bitter. And then they give you the sweetest mochi ever. So the mochi is absolutely gorgeous. Very, very well made, like pretty. Okay. Mochi is rice pounded and pounded and pounded and pounded until it gets sweet. Just like here in America, we make corn syrup. We pound and pound corn until it gets sweet. Okay, so mochi is rice pounded and pounded until it gets sweet. And it's so sweet, you can't have a whole big bite of it. You can only have a teeny little taste. And then you take a little sip of the bitter, bitter, bitter tea, and it's so bitter you can't have a lot of the tea. You can only have a teeny little taste. And then you have a little bite of the sweet, sweet mochi, and you can't have too much. You can only have a little taste because your mouth is just saying, no, you can't have too much of this. But inside your mouth, when you've had the bitter, bitter tea and the sweet, sweet mochi, even though it was just a molecule that you were able to eat, it does magical things in your mouth. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm hoping to do a little tea ceremony with you in class. Now notice this is ocha. Tea ceremony is sado. That cha is going to get pronounced sa. Okay, so sometimes with all kanji, depending on how you're using it, the pronunciation is going to change. So when you get good at reading, it's totally different than reading in English. In English, we're looking at the word and we're sounding it out. In Japanese, you're looking at the word and instantly you've got the meaning, and then you need to apply what you remember for the pronunciation to it. All right, next one is sakana. Sakana, or sometimes pronounced gyo if it's part of a kanji. Now, before I show you how this is written, look at this, okay? I'm just gonna do. There we go. Doesn't that look like a fish swimming? Here's the head of the fish right here, and here's all the fins, the fancy, fancy fins. It's supposed to look like a fish, okay? So we're gonna swoop you down, just like you're making a katakana ku right here. Come across and down without lifting up your pen. Now, I think I've already shown you ta. This is exactly the same. You're gonna come down, across and down. We're always the box, always the same way. So get that into your muscle memory and then you won't have a problem. And then cross the middle down and then make the plus and then cross the bottom and then draw the 4 little fins on the bottom. Okay, that's sakana, fish. Niku, look, I found a picture of a T-bone steak. This is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like a piece of meat, a slab of meat with some bones sticking out of it. Okay, so we're going to come down, across and down, just like we're making a box. And then this bottom part comes up a little bit, just like in nani. Okay, then you make the 2 little, looks like people, but it's the bones. Okay, you probably know yakiniku. Yakiniku just means cooked meat. Okay, nothing special about the yaki other than it's been cooked. I know in English we like to think that all the yaki, your teriyaki, we like to think that that's a special flavoring, but it's not. Yakisoba, it just means cooked noodles. Teriyaki, it's just cooked, okay? All right, next one. This is another 2nd grade kanji. It's a little complicated. This is pronounced no or ya. So we're going to start on the left-hand side, and we're going to make a box, okay? Down, across and down, cross the middle, come straight down. Here, I'll go down here. Straight down, cross this part right here, and then cross the bottom. And on the right-hand side, like you're making a katakana ma. Okay, don't lift up the pen. Now you can lift up and do that. And then across and a little there, and then straight down, okay? So this might be a nohara, which means field. And actually by itself, it means field, okay? It's like this open space kind of field. Nohara is like a field. Maybe you might see it in conjunction with farmland. Sometimes it's pronounced ya. Here's yaku. Yaku, this is ball field, okay? So this is baseball. During World War II, Japan was trying to erase all memory of any friendliness they'd had with the West. Just like during the Iraq War, we tried to get rid of, France wouldn't help us. They didn't want to help us, so we're going to rename French fries freedom fries, and nobody cared in the end. So in Japan, yaku stuck a little bit more. So you will see yaku meaning baseball, but pretty much the term baseball never went out of fashion. Okay, so here's a more complicated kanji. This is pronounced sai. So we go cross and down, just like we saw in cha. And usually it has to do with bamboo. So this has to do with some kind of a plant, we know, or bamboo. All right. Then we're going to swoopy down here and then do these 3. This I'm also wanting your muscle memory, okay? We're going to go top to bottom, top to bottom. This one goes kind of inward a little bit, okay? Top to bottom, inward, okay? And then we basically make a tree on the bottom. You already know how to make a tree. You go straight across, straight down, swoopy, swoopy, okay? This is pronounced sai, and I can't recall any time in my hundreds of years of being a professional translator or going to college in Japan, or any time I can, as a teacher now, 100 extra more years, I can never recall seeing sai on its own. It's always in conjunction with yasai. Yasai means vegetables. Or one vegetable. You can't tell. There's no plural in Japanese. Okay, so that's all the kanji I want to show you right now. Next time, I'm going to show you how to use those verb kanji. I'm going to explain how verbs work. Okay? ありがとうございます。またね。